So we have this Santa Claus here with a sack full of gifts. So we're going to paint this. It's pretty straightforward and simple, but I am going to talk to you about how to make these kinds of patterns here to make a shadow and how to enhance white so that it looks white, but you're adding that shadow in there to give it dimension. So get your supplies and we'll start to paint this Santa. So we'll get started painting this Santa Claus. I'm going to go through and pretty straightforward, just paint in this Santa's jacket. It's really not that complicated. If you've never used a water brush before or paint, you'll just have to test out how much water versus pigment you've got. And the trick is that if you want it to look smooth, you just don't let it dry before moving it around, because it'll start to leave little marks, which if you like those, then that works perfectly. But if you don't, you want to kind of move that paint around. So we can come along the side of his jacket here and carefully around where we've got the white fur. And I've got this small water brush with a very fine tip. So if you have one of these, that's great. If you're using my Take and Paints, then you'll probably want to have something like this because they're kind of small little details. And this is a 4x6. Typically, I paint in a 5x7, but this is going in my little book set, and I wanted to go ahead and paint it in small format just so that you know how to do that. Going to be easier to do. So this is the bottom of his mitten because Santa lives at the North Pole, of course. Everyone knows that. And it's cold there. So you can see we're just using this like a marker, and I'm not using a ton of water, but I am going to just follow these lines along the edge, just piece by piece, and then moving the pigment around. And this is pretty straightforward because we're not doing a lot of accents here, but I am trying to make sure I have enough pigment so that it doesn't look too pink. The red in this box, which is Tropicals, is a little more on the pink side. So you can either, if you've got this one and you want it to be deeper red, you can mix some green in there, just to kind of deepen it up a little bit, but it might get a little muddy looking. So I'm just choosing to use a lot of this pigment in order to deepen that color. And I can show you if I add another layer here. I'll kind of make it look a little less, it's a little more cherry red here. And if you've got my woodland set, you can use the foxberry. That's a really pretty color red as well. And then we're just doing the traditional hat. Now this is your painting, so you can make your Santa wear a turquoise suit or pink, or change it out however you would like. And I've got this extra, which is a black here in this tropical set. So if you don't have that in yours, then you can just mix up like a deep blue in this set called Ocean or Hibiscus to create a black so that you've got that. And it's just easier for me, for the sake of time, to go ahead and just have it as an extra in here. And you can just buy one separately like I did and pop it right in your set there. Okay, so now I'm going to let this kind of dry for a second, and I will work on the presents. And you can see what kind of green you have in your box. Some are a little more or less Christmas green, so that's up to you. And then you can paint your presents blue. You can put a pattern on them if you want. It's up to you. And like I said, this is small because it's a 4x6, so you're really going to want to use the very tip of your brush and You can take your extra little strip that you may have in your take and paint or use the back of your book to test out drawing a line. And I'm just letting those be for a minute. They're kind of bubbled up a little bit. And I'm going to now kind of create this tan that I had, which is a very watered down kind of burlap-y type. Santa doesn't carry a burlap bag, but let's just see what kind of brown we can sort of get here. I used a little bit of black with that because this has a lot of yellow in it. I've added my little strip here so that I can kind of test what color I'd like my Santa sack to be. Making sure that the pants and this black are already dry. I'm going to go around the outside, and this will kind of start to create a little area here where that pigment is going to pull to the side. And you're welcome to make this red or green, whatever you would like. Now that that's mostly dry, I'm going to come in here and put that red. Like I said, it's a little bit cherry. And now I will add just a tad of brown along there, or you can use black. And make sure that's... There we go. So now we'll move on to his face here, and we've got needing a little bit of skin tone. It's a little too pink, too yellow. Very watered down. Whatever you can get, kind of a little bit of a pinky tan, like so. And we'll go in and do his cheeks in a moment. And then we're just going to add a little bit of gray along these edges. And a shadow over here near where his mitten is. Now some of that went into his face area, so I want to take that away with my paper towel. If you ever need to erase, that's how you do it. And spread this out when you're working on yours to make sure that's right, especially with red. It's just gonna be apt to bleed, and since I added another layer there, and now I'll just kind of rosy up his cheeks here. You really want that face color to already be dry before you add that. See how that's traveling into his beard? Don't panic. Just kind of take a clear brush and just scrub away at that a little bit and dab down. And I can clean this part up at the end if I need to, but already he's super cute. You can add some snow if he's standing on some snow here, and just loosely with really watered down blue or gray if you want. Put in some buttons when your coat is dry. You can make those gold or black, whatever you'd like. And I did also put a red bow here. Wait till that sack is dry. That works well. And now we can take a clear brush. If you take more time to let that dry first, you'll end up with great results. Ho, ho, ho. Okay, we're going to add some metallic to our Santa, and we want to just kind of come along here in his beard. You can do it wherever you'd like, and put some on his mustache, maybe a tad right here on his nose. And I'm going to put a twinkle in his eye since I don't have that painted right there. And then I'd like to just kind of add some to the fur. I'm trying not to touch the red because it may reignite that paint that's dry. And I definitely recommend you wait till your painting is fully dry. Mine was overnight. I'm going to add a little bit of gold here to this package because I didn't paint the ribbons on there anyway, so you can always leave the white of the paper if you know you're going to add some glitter. And I don't have a red, but I'm going to take this pink and just put it on top of that bow, so when you turn this paper, it will shine with a little pizzazz. And I'm going to just add a bit to his boots. Last thing, and I've got like this blue over here, and I can, if you've got colors in your set, like this circle set over here, you can really step it up in the pizzazz. Let's see, let's give this bag a little bit of something. Spice it up a little bit. And there you have Sparkly Santa.